Hello Year 8, welcome to Mr. Chan's classrooms. So today in science, we will be looking at this term called density. Alright, so density is a form of physical properties. So before we begin, I want you to know what are physical properties. Alright, so physical properties are things we use to describe a thing, a matter. So, for example, look at that cars. How does it look like? First, we obviously look at its appearance. All right, and once we got the appearance, we look at the temperature at which it melt, freeze, and boils. So, in this term, we are talking about like metals. So if I give you some one metal, for example, aluminiums. So aluminium steel, it is shiny. Alright, that is the first physical properties that you can look at. Shiny, kind of like white, silverish colors. And next we look at the temperature at which it melts and where it freezes and boils. Okay, so that pretty much describe at what temperature does aluminium start to freeze and start to melt and turn from solid to liquid. And the third one is hardness. So hardness here describe how easily it is to scrap the materials. As we know, aluminium is metals is actually pretty hard compared to, let's say, a piece of cheese. So aluminium is a lot harder. And the last one is the important one, which is the density. Alright, it is a fourth physical properties that we use to describe things. Alright, so density is pretty much describe how heavy a substance is, but it is not the same as weight or mass. So the picture below actually describes it quite perfectly of what density is. So when you look at properties, look at density. For example, the first one, 1 kilo of leaf and 1 kilo of stone. I'm sure you know a leaf is a lot lighter than stone. So that means leaf is a lot less dense than stone. So if you're gonna pack 1 kilo of leaf on this scale, you will notice you need way more leaf to make up that 1 kilo. Compared to the stone, you probably only need a few stone to make up 1 kilo, which is way less. So that tells you straight away the stones is a lot more packed than the leaf. So that's why it is a lot denser than the leaf. So density pretty much measure how much matter is packed in space. Okay, so if it takes up a lot of space, that means that thing is less dense. And if it takes up less space, but at the same time it is heavy in terms of weight and mass, that means that things is very heavy and high density. Now moving on to the next slide. So in next slides, we're pretty much comparing density to each other. So density, there is actually a formula to it, which will be shown below. But first, we're gonna have to show you the units to that we use to measure density. It is gram per cubic centimeters. Okay, so it is 1 gram per cubic centimeters pretty much means 1 cube that is measured that has a density of measurement of 1 centimeters times the length 1 centimeters times that 1 centimeters. Okay, so that is 1 gram per cubic meters. So for here I have 4 different cube. The first one is a foam rubber. The next one is glass, followed by steel and lead. As we can see, they are all have the same size, literally. However, you will notice the weight is a lot different. So foam rubber, even though it is the same size as the glass, it only weighs 0.05 gram, compared to glass, which weighs 2 gram, and steel 7.7 gram, and lead 11.3 gram, which is the heaviest. So if I'm gonna rate from the less dense to most dense, it will be less dense, this one, followed by that one, followed by steel, and lastly lead, which is the densest, which is the most dense. Okay, so I also have a table that shows density of different solid, liquid, and gas, but I can't present it here. I will definitely show it in class. Can you please remind me on that, please, as well? So that kind of tells you how density works for each different substance. Lastly, density also affects how things are floating and sinking. Okay, it all depends on density. So if you look at this figure beside on the right hand side, you can see this is a glass tube, and on there we have vegetable oil, water, and copper. Copper means copper steel, copper metal. So vegetable oil has a density of 0.91 gram per centimeters cube, followed by water and copper. The water has 1 gram per centimeters cube, and copper has 8.9 gram per centimeters cube. So that literally tells me that vegetable oil is the less dense compared to copper, which is the most dense. So obviously the one with less density will tend to float on top. As you can see here, vegetable oil, because it is the least density, it floats above water, and the water is actually floating above the copper. Okay, so copper has the most density among all 3 of these substances. There are also formulas on how to calculate the density, but first we quickly look at volume. In order to calculate density, you need volume. So volume is literally a 3D presentation of a substance. How do you calculate that? It is length times width times height of the things, which you will refer back to here. That is actually a volume. Length times width times height. Okay, so the length is here, followed by width times the height. The height will be that one, which is 1 centimeters there. So once you have found your volume, you will be able to find out the density. So the formula for density is density equal to mass divided by volume. So short term is D equal to M divided by V. Okay, so for example, if let's say a thing weighed 100 gram, and it has a volume of 2 centimeters cube. All right, So what would be its density? What you can do is simply divide 100 by 2, which will leave you with 50 gram per centimeters cube. Okay, so that thing is by that calculation alone, you can tell that this object has very high density. Because water only has 1 gram per centimeters cube, and this thing has 50, so it's definitely going to sink. And it is even higher than copper, which is 8.9 gram per centimeters cube, so it will sink below copper if both of them are in the same locations. Alright, so we will actually practice more questions during our lessons. This is just to show you the formulas and to give you an introduction to densities. So please write down any questions that you got as we will discuss this topic further during our lesson. Thank you for listening. See ya. Peace out. Bye.